Hi everyone, this is Amy from the North Columbus Public Library, and today I'm going to give you a little container gardening tour. And first I want to start off by recommending a couple of books that I have here that have helped me with my garden. The first one here is called Succulents, The Ultimate Guide for Choosing, Designing, and Growing 200 Easy Care Plants by Robin Stockwell. So please request this book if you get a chance. And if you're interested in starting your own container garden, whether that's indoors or outdoors. It's a very visually appealing book. There's a lot of good tips in here. In fact, on page 176 in here, it talks about how you can properly maintain a container garden with succulents, and that does include things like cactus or cacti. So this is a really neat book that I wanted to recommend. And also I have here Container Garden Book Idea Book, and this is focusing on entries, seating areas, focal points, and paths in your garden. So in here it's very similar to a magazine. It's very picturesque, and there's a lot of great ideas in here that you can get inspired by to start your own container garden. So now we're going to do a little tour of my container garden area, and hopefully we'll inspire each other to start our own gardening. And please feel free to also go ahead and share in the comment section below your what's growing outside of your window, or maybe inside of your home. Stay tuned. Welcome to my garden, everyone. So here I have a striped petunia. It's actually a little hanging basket, but I've been having it sitting in this chair just so that it can get a little bit more sun than in the hanging places that I have around my place. So again, these are striped petunias. You can see that they are a mixture of white and kind of a magenta pink color. And once they start maturing, they turn more of a purplish color. So you know that's time to pull off some of the older, especially once they start kind of dying off there, just to give the plant a little break. Over here I have some miniature roses. They are in a light pink color. They look kind of peach on the camera here, but they're actually more like a pale pink. And one thing I wanted to show you too is I have, when you buy plants, you want to make sure that you keep note of the original tag or packet if it comes in a seed, and pay attention to what the recommendations are on here. So I've got this here just to help me keep me when I maintain the plant. I also have a Foxglove here, which I do know that it's not the best recommendation to keep it in a container, but that's what I have for now. I might gift it to a friend, but so far it's done pretty well. It had originally some beautiful pink and white blooms all along here, and the leaves down at the base are very large, and they've maintained their greenness and done so far pretty well. I don't want to forget this little guy over here. I have a little Christmas cactus, I believe it's what it's called. It usually at the end of the year will start have these red blooms, and it's super cute. Right now it's just green because we're in June. Over here I have a Calla Lily, and originally it had on some of the blooms were yellow, but as it's matured it's gotten more green. So, and the leaves just have really gotten large, and they have these cute little speckles on them, white little speckles all around the leaves. So I've enjoyed seeing this grow. Over here I have a couple of lilies. So this lily is actually an Easter lily that a friend gave me. And I have a couple more, and I just planted the little one right here just a few weeks ago, and it's really starting to blossom. And the other one, the taller one, is actually supposed to be like a crimson red type of bloom. So I really look forward to seeing that one. Really both of them when they bloom. The smaller lily is this type. I bought this actually at one of the dollar stores. I believe it's called Asiatic Lily. And it'll tell you that it blooms usually in the summer. And there's even more information on the back of this packet on how to take care of it. You know, as far as when you plant it, how deep it should go, how much sun, and how tall to expect it when it blooms. And also there's a note on here about zones. So note that we are in the southeast and we have our own zones. And so when you look at gardening books, just keep that in mind. So over here, I actually have experimented with some sunflowers. A friend of mine gave me these little sunflowers, and this is my first time experimenting with them. And some of them you can see still has this little seed caps on them, but they've done pretty well. They grow very fast, and so with time I will get more containers and try to do the best I can with them. Over here I have some Gladiolas and I have some little garden snakes. I have a butterfly and hummingbird one over here. And one of the Gladiolas actually bloomed recently. It's so beautiful. And it's got this light, well, kind of medium pink, and then on the inside it's more of a red. It's just gorgeous. And it's funny because when I bought it, it was supposed to be purple, but it turned out to be pink. So this is actually a new Gladiola that I just planted a couple of months ago. And I have some other Gladiolas here in the back. And they actually bloom a white with purple center. And they have come back. So I planted them last year and they have come back, and this is the original box that they came in. Gladiolas, there are 3 of them, great for containers, and it has the instructions on here on how to maintain them, and even on this side as well, and how long. These are very tall plants, so that's why I bought these stakes that they're in to help keep them, because they do like to lean, especially when they start to bloom and get that tall. So that's a pretty tall plant, and I've really enjoyed having them. So I can't wait to see when the others bloom as well. Over here I have what's called Italian Oregano, and it smells so good. And this is the tag that came with it. And as you can see, you can use this in cooking. And it has the instructions on here on the back on how to maintain it again. So, but it's just been a very fragrant and really easy to maintain plant. Over here I kind of have a little mixed bag. One of these is the little iris plant, and it's in the back. There's actually another iris right here that has not bloomed yet. And I also have a couple of other plants in here with it too. And one of them is this little guy right here. It's almost like a little miniature sunflower. But it's actually, let's see here. I have, so here's the packet for the iris. So this is kind of what the iris looked like when it bloomed. And I can't wait to see if it's able to bloom again or if the other one will bloom. And I believe actually I have another packet somewhere, but I don't have a name for the one that's flowering. But another plant that's in here is this one right here. So I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I'm terrible at that. But I found most of these flower packets or bulbs and some of the seeds even at the dollar store, and it has the how to maintain it on the back. And last but certainly not least is my little morning glory over here. I don't have a bloom today, but usually almost every morning I'll have a little bloom. And a dear friend of mine actually gave this to me a couple of years ago, and I added even more morning glory seeds to it. This is called the Early Call Mix Morning Glory, and about maybe 2 or 3 yellow leaves a day, and I'll just pluck those off, and it helps maintain the whole vine there. And as you can see, it climbs, so I've got some stakes in here to help support the climb. And so far the morning glories have been blooming down here, and I can't wait to see more as they are able to bloom. So stay tuned, I want to show you a couple of more plants. Welcome back, everyone. I wanted to show you my indoor plants, which are exclusively succulent and cacti type of plants, and they're very small. So I've got this succulent, and I have this one as well, and I have this little cactus, and a couple of more succulents here on the end. And I've had these now for well over a year, and they've done pretty well. And I water them just once a week, just very little. The key with succulents is to not overwater them because they're used to dry and hot environments. So I keep them as close to the windowsill here as possible. With the exception of during the winter, I try to be careful just because sometimes it can get cold. Very cold around the windowsill. So these are my succulent and cactus plants, and I'm going to show you just a few more plants here outside. Alright everyone, and welcome back to the last segment of the container gardening tour. I wanted to show you my hydrangea, and as you can see, it's actually turned green. It was a lavender, kind of more of a bluish color, but with time and maturity, it's actually turned green. I heard that this is a natural thing that happens with hydrangeas, and as they get older, and just for the growing process, and they maintain their blooms. This is actually the original tag that it came in, but it was more of a purplish blue color. And then there's the instructions on the back. And over here I have my fern. It's gotten very big. And these are more of the plants that like the shade. And this is actually a gallon fern, or Kimberly Queen type of fern. And I know that you can, over time, separate them, make more ferns that way. It's been a very easy to maintain plant, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're starting off and are fairly immature like me. Over here I have a hanging basket. I've heard this called a wishbone flower, and bees love this plant. I see little honeybees all the time coming up to it. It's been so fun to work with, and there's always so many blooms, and it blooms every day. It's just a very easy to maintain type of plant, and it does like a little partial shade, and it's done very well. And up here at top I have a brand new plant that I neglect to have a name for, but it's multicolored. Some of you probably recognize it. I remember my grandmother having these types of plants when I was a kid, but they're pink and yellow, and I believe I even have some white in here too. But so when it gets closer to the evening time, or early in the morning, they kind of close up, almost like a morning glory, even though they're not related to my knowledge. But during the day, they open wide, so it's really cool to see that effect. Over here I have a purple clover, and as you can see, it has a couple little blooms on it. They're light lavender color, and it likes the shade as well. And I have a little fern here, and there's another fern on the other side of the clover. These were in much smaller little pots, and I've decided to plant them together, and so far they've done well. And last but not least, I have my hosta plant. Hosta plant, yes, I always mispronounce it. So, and this is the tag that it originally came with. And this has thrived. It was actually about half the size last year, and when it came back, it's doubled. And the leaves are just so nice to look at. I think this is a favorite among gardeners. So it's just really nice to maintain. I don't have anything on the bottom planter right now, but I'm just leaving that open for now and just thinking of what I can add here. So thank you so much for joining me today in my little walking tour, and I hope that the books at the beginning were helpful to you. And don't forget to check out even more gardening books on Hoopla and even Libby in Overdrive. Hope to see you soon. I hope this message finds you well. Have a wonderful day.
We are springing into summer learning at the Chattahoochee Valley Libraries, and the program you just attended is one of the ways you can earn completions. Just go to cvlga.org and look for Spring into Summer Learning. You can register yourself and your family online, and then start reading and attending our online events. That's all you have to do. We're giving away weekly gift certificates, and every completion you make enters you into a grand prize drawing for tablets, games, gifts, and more. Remember, you have to register to win. cvlga.org, and we'll see you online again real soon.